Good afternoon, Gator Nation. My name is Kerry Hauver. I'm here with Micaiah Stake. We are broadcasting the upcoming bocce match between the Port Allegany Gators and the visiting Cameron County Red Raiders. Port Allegany competed on Wednesday against Bradford. They lost 2 close sets, and they're eager to get back out there to avenge those losses. This is the first match for Cameron County. So we're hoping for Port Allegany fans that maybe we can catch them off guard, a little rusty. Micaiah, you are a former bocce player for Port Allegany High School. You're a graduate of 2023, right?
Yes.
So we welcome you to the broadcast. You're going to guide us along on what we're seeing here, what the rules are. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. I went to a couple matches, but I'm just not familiar with the rules.
Got it.
And I suspect that, some of our viewers aren't familiar as well. So
Yep. It's a fairly new sport to Port Allegany. This is our third official season. In 2021, we didn't have a season due to COVID. I was on the 2020 team. We were actually the district champs. We were ready to head to Hershey to compete in the state tournament. And then 2 days before we left, everything shut down because of COVID.
Yeah, and back to that 2020 year, that was the inaugural season for bocce in this part of the state. Port Allegany, Bradford, and Oswego Valley were the original 3 teams. Since then, it's grown. There are now 7 teams in the league: Coudersport, Oswego Valley, Cameron County, Port Allegany, Smethport, Bradford, and St. Mary's. And if you want to talk about the big news as far as the district goes in bocce last year.
Yeah, St. Mary's was the district champ last year. So in this upcoming season, Port Allegany, we're rooting for it. We're going to chase them down. Hopefully we'll win this district champion this year. St. Mary's is actually undefeated for the season, and they won the state championship in Hershey.
Yeah, and Mr. Buxton was kind of filling us in on that. As state champions, they were able to go to the governor's mansion down in Harrisburg and actually played on the front lawn of the governor's home with Governor Shapiro. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully our Port Allegany team will be down there and get that opportunity. So we're just about ready to start. Do you want to, I guess we'll kind of start out with the basics. Maybe some of us have played in the backyard, throwing the ball around. We'll kick it over to Mr. Lawton to get us started here. Okay, so as I was saying, so some people may be familiar with the sport a little bit from playing in the backyard. It's one of the newest high school sports, and like we said, it in this area it dates back to 2020. So maybe a lot of our viewers aren't familiar with the rules. So if you want to start out from the basics, what is the What is the ball called that they initially throw?
So the yellow ball that they initially throw, it's a hard, solid yellow ball. I don't know if they're all yellow, but that's the one that the district plays with.
Okay.
It's called the Polina, and the object is to get it into the middle and the farthest section. We don't want it on the back section because then it's disqualified, and then the next opponent, you get 3 rolls, and then if neither team gets it in with those 3 rolls into that section, then the officials will place the ball exactly in the center of the court on the blue line.
Okay. And how do you determine who gets to throw the ball first?
If I remember correctly, it's the highest scoring team of the frame.
Okay. And strategy-wise, do you want to, as a former player, do you want to throw it as far as you can down the court, or do you want to kind of put it somewhere in the middle? Does that make it more difficult?
I always tried to get it like right after the blue line in that middle section, just because it was easier for all of our team members strategically to get that close.
Okay.
But some members go farther. It just depends on how you practice as a team, because it's really just a strategy game.
Okay.
Marcus Skinner, Isabel Stiles, and Lynn Palmer. Good luck for all the athletes.
So we'll announce the Port Allegany team here real quick. Elena Corey, Daniel Link, Alan Hefner, Journey Wilmoth, Marcus Skinner, Isabella Stiles, and Elena Palmer. So it looks like Cameron County gets to start the game here.
I think it's a flip of the coin for the original first roll.
Okay.
So the paddle they have signifies which team has what, and it goes by the color of the ball.
Okay.
And the bocce ball itself is filled with like a gel substance, so it's actually not solid, which is why it bounces.
Okay. So now does Port Allegany get an opportunity to throw?
Yes.
You just alternate back and forth?
Yep.
Okay.
And it'll be a different roll, a different person who rolls the ball each time. You can't roll the same ball in the same frame.
Okay.
This is Daniel Link with a good roll. Hopefully it slows down. Port Allegany looks to have the closest ball at the moment.
Can you bounce it off the opposite wall and have it bounce back?
Yep, so in some cases, if the opponent's ball is like real close to the Polina, actually it's a goal to knock it out so they don't get the point. And then the farthest ball away always rolls because that advantage.
So this is Alan Hefner for Port Allegany rolling.
Yes.
Now does that ball count? Do you have to get it past the half?
So it's still, once after the yellow ball's placed, there's actually no boundary for the ball. Once the ball is placed, it just goes by points from there. It just has to be within the white frame. We actually built this frame our first year out of PVC pipe and joints.
So that roll was by Journey Wilmoth. So a little roll goes a long way, as we can see on those couple rolls there.
When we first started, we actually started playing in the main foyer because we didn't have enough room at the time in the schedule, because it was kind of like an impromptu kind of thing. We got it, and we ended up playing in the gym or the hallway until we could get gym time. And there's a slope on the hallway, so it was a lot different.
So that last throw was by Isabella Stiles. Now Cameron County will get their chance to throw. Is throw the appropriate terminology?
Yeah.
Okay. Or roll?
One or the other.
Okay. So since Cameron County is closest to the Polina, now every throw, as long as they don't bounce their own ball out, they can just add to their point total.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's really an advantage to get your ball the closest, because then the other team, you'll get your ball stacked up.
Looks like that's going to be more points for Cameron County. Now, Mr. Buxton and Mr. Oliver, what are they just called officials?
Yeah, they're the officials for our school district league. If I remember correctly, Mr. Buxton came down to our district. Our district playoff was in OV. And they had 2 courts set up so we could play simultaneously. Mr. Lawton at one point was an official too. So each ball closest to the Polina is 4. It's 1 point per ball that's closest.
Okay.
And if Port had one of the green balls in there, it would have been 3 points because it'll cancel out.
So there's 10 frames. So that first frame was Cameron County 4, Port Allegany 1. Is that how the scoring goes? Okay.
And then there's 10 frames or 30 minutes. So
Okay.
if the 30 minutes is up by the time we get through the frames or vice versa.
Okay.
Since Cameron County won that frame, they start with the Polina.
So Cameron County elects to go with maybe the halfway point strategy.
Yeah, it's just that happy medium. It's the hardest part to get the ball to because you can't roll it too hard or too soft. They look like they have a pretty good strategy down.
Yeah, seems to be working so far.
And the initial player that rolls the Polina also gets the first roll of the bocce ball. Marcus.
So that was a roll by Marcus Skinner from Port Allegany.
Yes.
So red is still closer there?
Yep.
Okay.
At some points, it'll be so close they'll bring out the measuring tape, and it literally comes down to inches.
So Elena Palmer with a roll here. Nice roll by Daniel Link.
He might have it. Oh, so close.
It's about as good as it gets right
Yep.
there.
Green is in.
Looks like a pretty good throw by Cameron County, but that was such a good throw by Daniel Link to get it close to the Polina.
It's going to be hard to beat. So to get an actual bocce in the game is, it actually comes from, in Italian is the word kiss. So when the yellow ball and one of the colored balls hit it, that's a bocce.
Okay.
If they're touching.
The Italians are known for the romanticism, so it makes
Yes,
sense
they
that you know, they would come up with a term like that.
Yep.
So Mr. Buxton calls out the winner of that frame.
And it's only 1 point since they each had a ball close and a ball farther, so they cancel each other out.
Okay, so it's 0 for Cameron County in that frame, 1 for Port Allegany.
Yes.
So it's 4-2. Is that how it works? We'll see if they update the scoreboard here. So it looks like Alan Hefner is going to get the first throw, the Polina.
The ball also has to be, if I believe correctly, 1.5 feet or 2 feet away from the white barrier.
Okay. I was going to ask that if you could.
Can't be touching.
Okay. So Alan Hefner tosses it down there, still that kind of intermediate zone. So he will have the first throw.
Almost a perfect roll with a bocce, but a little bit of force definitely goes a long way in this game.
So our first bocce of the day. We'll have to ask Mr. Buxton if that floor is level, because it looks like it kind of tipped over there as it got towards the end.
They do seem to roll a little faster coming back our way.
So that appears to be the closest one so far. Good shot there by Cameron County. So next up for Port Allegany is Elena Palmer. Looked like a pretty good throw. Just kind of died out there at the end.
We'll still cancel out that Cameron County red ball over here.
So Daniel Link with the throw there. Daniel had in the second frame, had the winning roll. Journey Wilmoth up next for Port Allegany. Looked like a good throw, and then it just got to the P there and just stopped rolling.
Yeah. Must be a little rough spot in there.
Yeah, I think the paint's bubbled up or something.
It's going right for it.
That might be the one right there.
Good roll by Cameron County.
So that's going to be 3 for Cameron County.
Yep.
So they win. So Cameron County wins the 3rd frame. So in that, back to that 2nd frame. So Port Allegany won it, but you said that the points don't count. Is that how that worked?
So they won it. I think we made a mistake in the 1st frame. They knocked out one of Port Allegany's balls, so I don't think Port Allegany had a point in the 1st frame.
Okay.
But so how it worked is we had enough balls in the 1st and the 2nd frame that they canceled each other out because there was like a red and a green close to each other, so they canceled out the other opponent's ball.
Okay. So the lead for Cameron County right now stands at 7-1. 13:35 left to play in the first round. Trying to look for the terminology.
I think
First match?
First match.
Okay. I'm learning as I go here, so I appreciate you helping us along. So the first throw there by Cameron County. We just want to point out the 2 gentlemen staying along the side there, Mr. Greg Oliver and Mr. Gary Buxton. They are tonight's officials. So Port Allegany's first throw by Isabella Stiles.
Where the ball placement is, it must be a foot for the yellow Duplina.
Away from that
Away
PVC pipe.
Yes.
Okay. At least our particular court is made out of PVC pipe.
Yes.
Okay. So Cameron County will continue to throw until if they can get the closest to the Polina. Now, strategy-wise, if you had the closest to the Polina, it might not be a bad idea to kind of leave a ball in the way.
Yeah, because it's really hard to actually hit one of the bocce balls.
So we almost had our second bocce of the afternoon. It just snuck by there.
Sometimes a good strategy, like the Cameron County players just had, was bouncing it off of PVC pipe because it'll slow it down and it might get you that angle that you need.
So Marcus Skinner with the roll here for Port Allegany. Next up is Elena Corey. Tried to go right along the rail there. Still might work out. Next up is Alan Hefner for Port Allegany.
You might have to bring out the measuring tape for that third green ball.
Looks to be a good throw there. Good roll by Alan Hefner. So Mr. Oliver will grab the measuring tape, give it to Mr. Buxton.
So in measuring, you go from the center of the bocce ball to the center of the arena.
Okay.
Or sorry, the front of the bocce ball to the center of the
So Port Allegany had the 4 closest balls to the Polina in that frame. So they take the third frame. So even though they've won 2 of the 3 frames, they're down overall for the match. So just under 9 minutes to go here. So it's going to be 30 minutes and then a 5-minute intermission, and then they're going to come back for 30 more minutes, and then there's a what's called a golden frame.
Yep.
Okay.
And so if Cameron County or Port Allegany wins both of the matches, then there is no golden frame, but it's best 2 out of 3.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, the golden frame is only 15 minutes.
So Elena Corey from Port Allegany with the opening roll. Appears to be a good roll. So Elena Corey with a great opening throw for Port Allegany. That's going to be the ball to beat.
It's going to be a hard one to beat unless Cameron County can knock Elena's initial ball out of the way.
So if you were out there and you were throwing, would you try to bump that ball out of the way? Think that would be the strategy?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you kind of got to come in from an angle and get the speed right.
And if I was Port, I would definitely try to back up Elena's balls.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd try to hit hers because it might knock it out of the way, but either barricade it by the sides or just back them up. Close roll by Cameron County.
Yeah, it was a nice shot there. Thought maybe it would stop and be the closest to the Polina, but Port Allegany remains in the lead for the frame. So Cameron County must have heard you, Micaiah. They heard the strategy, decided to bump Elena Corey's ball out of the way.
I think Port Allegany is still the closest.
Journey Wilmoth with the roll for Port Allegany. Daniel Link with the roll.
Good play by Port Allegany.
Yeah, Daniel Link's having a great day so far. Bumps that ball from Cameron County out of the way. Marcus Skinner with a roll. That's the last roll of the frame, so we'll tally up the points here in a minute. That might be the one.
That puts Port Allegany in the lead for this frame.
So that was the fourth frame. Port Allegany's won 3 out of 4. Takes a 9-7 lead in the match.
Since we're under the 5-minute mark, this will be the last frame of the match.
So you just play it out until it's done? Is that how it works?
Yep.
So while they're switching over for the next frame, we just want to thank Connor Val. So now in the 5th and final frame here, the first match, Elena Palmers rolls the Polina out. So strategy-wise, that's just a ball. It could be a ball in the way that Cameron County's going to have to work around.
If either Port or Cameron County hits it, if they hit it in the right spot of the ball, it might shoot it forward. Or Cameron County, they want to shoot the other way, so it's not in their way. Or they might just leave it.
Nice roll by Cameron County. So while Mr. Buxton and Mr. Oliver measure, David Bartlett's going to take an additional camera down on the floor. So right now they're measuring to see who's the closest, to see who throws next.
So red's in, so that means that Cameron County, or Port Allegany will get roll the next one.
So Daniel Link has had a great night so far.
Looks to be a pretty solid roll by Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel Link has had, at least 3 really good throws so far.
Yeah, he won that second frame, closed out the third.
That looks like the leader now.
Great roll by Cameron County. Puts them in.
So now we'll switch back to Port Allegany to counter. Alan Hefner with the throw. Looks like David Bartlett is set up down below with the new camera. So Connor will be switching back and forth with camera angles. Journey Wilmoth to throw for Port Allegany. This is their last throw of the frame.
It's the second bocce of the match.
And that one just kept rolling. I think that'd be unusual.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 more throws for Cameron County.
Cameron County knocked the green ball a little closer.
So that could potentially limit how many points Cameron County gets in this particular frame.
Correct. So red definitely has 1 point.
So we'll let Mr. Buxton and Mr. Oliver sort things out.
So 1 red, all the other ones cancel each other out.
Okay.
That closes out the first match. Port Allegany 9, Cameron County 8.
Okay, so that's the end of the first 30 minutes. You said Port Allegany was in the lead 9-8.
Yes.
So we'll take a 5-minute intermission.
How we doing? Anything controversial yet?
Troy Glasgow, he's home watching on the Gator Network, tuning into the bocce match. We encourage everyone, if possible, to come down and watch it in person, but if you're not able to, that's what we're here for, to bring all the action to your home on YouTube. We thank Micaiah Stake for being here to kind of guide us along, talk
More
to us
than
about the
happy to help.
rules. So we can take a break here, take the headsets off, get a drink of water, and we'll be back in 3 or 4 minutes.
Sounds good.
Gators and the visiting Cameron County Red Raiders. If you're just tuning in and trying to figure out what's going on the gym floor, this is the newest sport for Port Allegany and the surrounding area. We recapped it a little bit at the beginning. This sport started in 2020. Micaiah Stake was one of the original members of the Port Allegany team who won the league title that year.
Yeah, we were actually headed to Hershey. I said this earlier, but if you're just tuning in now, I'll fill you in. We were actually headed to Hershey to play in the state championship game 2 days before the COVID shutdown. So originally we were planning on going, and then everything shut down. So unfortunately, we didn't get to go.
Yeah, that's too bad. In last year's champs, St. Mary's, they won the state championship, and they were able to play bocce with Governor Shapiro on the lawn of the governor's mansion in Harrisburg. So Micaiah and the Port Allegany team from 2020, I think, Governor Shapiro should get a 2020 redo tournament around, so you all could go down there and play.
Yeah, everyone from the original team has now graduated.
And the 2021 season was lost to COVID.
Correct.
And then, as we remarked, St. Mary's won last year's title.
Yeah, last year, so the 2022 season, I played on that season's team, and then in 2023 I was out because I had foot surgery, so I wasn't able to play, but we cheered him on from the sidelines.
So Daniel Link with the throw here for Port Allegany. Bumps the other ball, moves it forward a little bit.
So I'd like to point out, once we were talking about the league championship, so in 2020 there wasn't a ton of teams. It was just Bradford, Oswego Valley, and our team, Port Allegany. And at the time, you only needed to win your league to progress to the state event at the Hershey Arena. But since it's grown, you actually have to win the league or the district. League and district are interchangeable. And then regionals, and then you go to states. So St. Mary's, they chased it down, and went really far.
Great accomplishment. So that last throw was by Isabella Stiles. I don't quite know if that was a bocce. Came really close, if not. But that is very close to the Polina. It's going to be a tough one to beat.
Sure is. It's perfect positioning. Cameron County's going to throw that red ball in to barricade the ball. It's going to be pretty challenging for it to get in there.
So Cameron County's going to have two more throws here to try to overtake that throw by Isabella Stiles. That was a great throw. Wow. Now that's a bocce. Good luck measuring that one.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. They're going to go for it anyways. Got to be official. It's literally going to come down to inches.
So if you're a fan of the Gator Network and you've been watching us all year long, you probably heard Peyton Stiles' name mentioned a lot of times in the fall. His sister Isabella Stiles with that last throw for Port Allegany. Athleticism seems to run in that family. Mr. Buxton with the measurement.
So Port Allegany takes that point by inches, maybe even centimeters.
Yeah. Good measurement by Mr. Buxton.
Looks like Cameron County might. Oh,
Wow, getting a second ball in there.
that'll cancel out that Port Allegany green ball. Unless Port Allegany uses their final throw. me down there right now, I'm probably scratch this throw just to keep
kinda
that point.
Throw it out of the way.
Yep. Because you don't want to jeopardize your point if you have it. Especially with it being this close. Just a nudge could be.
So Journey Wilmoth taking your advice there. Almost looked like she dropped it just to kind of get rid of it without jeopardizing anything. So Port Allegany takes that one. That was about as close as it gets there. So if we're keeping score here, so how does it work? So Port Allegany won 3 of the first 4 frames. Do they win that match?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got 1 match to 0, and then we start over in the next 30 minutes?
Yeah, so there should be another one.
Okay.
These.
Yeah, I didn't print the other one. So Marcus Skinner is going to get things started here for Port Allegany, throwing the Polina out.
Good roll by Marcus Skinner. Good Polina placement. That seems like the sweet spots. It's pretty difficult for the ball to get. You don't want to roll it too hard, too soft.
So not too short, not too far.
You either want to go to the back of that middle section or the front of it. Because if you do the front of it, then it's hard to control how hard you throw it. But the back of it, again, it's hard. That control. The middle's where things get real complicated.
Yeah. Cameron County trying to figure out strategy here.
Dead center. Oh, just missed it.
Yeah, almost had another bocce. That's going to be the throw to beat so far. So Elena Palmer is going to throw for Port Allegany and try to get closer to the Polina.
Just keeps on rolling.
Yep. So the balls thrown, for the viewers at home, is it like a rubbery ball or?
Yeah, so it's almost like a firm silicone material. It's thick and then has some sort of gel filling in it.
Okay.
And then like a small pump of air just to keep them firm. But they're pretty squishy. They're
Okay.
not very solid. That's why they bounce a lot.
Yeah.
And then the Polina, the yellow ball, is like a firm rubber.
Okay. So that was Elena Corey. Looks like Daniel Link's going to throw next. Daniel's had a really good day so far for the Port Allegany team. Going right after that ball from Cameron County.
Put Port Allegany in the lead.
Now, what's that called when you bounce someone's ball out of the way? Is there a term for that?
I honestly cannot remember.
All
There,
right.
I think there is a term.
Okay.
There's not a term I remember referring it as like knock out, like you knock
Knockout.
out your opponent's ball.
So Mr. Buxton is eyeing things up to see who's closest. Looks like Port Allegany still has it. 20 minutes to go here. Wow.
Perfect throw by Cameron County. The third bocce of the night.
So Cameron County took that frame in the last throw. So Cameron County's going to get to throw the Polina and get things started.
The yellow ball tends to roll a lot faster on these gym floors just because it doesn't have that sticky consistency of the silicone.
So the opening roll here. Alan Hefner is going to get things started for Port Allegany with the first roll.
Perfect throw by Alan Hefner.
Yeah, good throw there by Alan Hefner. Takes the, closest to the Polina. That's going to put Cameron County on the defensive to try to get closer and then potentially leave Port Allegany with a couple throws at the end.
Just came to mind, but another rule to the bocce ball is you cannot touch the white frame. So that's why each player and athlete are strategically stepping over it, because if you touch it, you foul out. So
Okay.
it's like a dead ball rule, like you forfeit your roll.
So that's going to be the last roll for Cameron County. Looks like Port Allegany is going to have 3 throws here at the end to try to add to their lead, unless they inadvertently bump Cameron County's ball closer. Elena Palmer with the roll here. That might work out as, just kind of a barrier. So we'll see what strategy Daniel Link goes with.
He's had a pretty good game tonight.
Sneaks it around the red one.
He didn't knock that red one closer, so that's perfect.
We'll take that. And Journey Wilmoth is going to close things out here with the last throw of the frame. That might sneak in there. So that's going to be 2 for Port Allegany in that frame. So while we're switching sides here, I want to thank Micaiah Stake for joining us on the Gator Network, and Connor Valentine for being the technical director, Liam Hover for running the camera, and Mr. David Bartlett is also down on the floor running the camera somewhere. He's at midcourt.
Well, they reset. I want to let you guys know a little bit of history on the bocce ball. It was originally developed in the Roman Empire. The bocce ball developed into its present form in Italy, where it got the name bocce. The word bocce, the sport, is similar to bowling in the general sense, and it's spread around primarily in Europe. And so once bocce ball, it's a sport in all ages, and for all ages and different abilities. So the Special Olympics picked the sport up, and it's now the 3rd most played sport among the Special Olympic athletes.
That's very cool.
And it's the first United sports that Port Allegany offers and anywhere around here.
Okay.
Hopefully in the future we'll have more United sports. I know we talked about it like in the 2020 season, just what other sports were unified, and it's not too popular around here, but I see within the next 10 years, I bet there would be another sport.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I hope so. This is a great opportunity for some kids that might not, play other sports. This is a chance for them to compete in a different event. So Marcus Skinner got things started for Port Allegany. Cameron County counters.
You guys might have heard bocce ball or played it. It's traditionally played on a natural soft soil or asphalt court, and the courts are traditionally made of wood or stone. And then social leagues and the Special Olympics use the Pacabocce PVC courts for the ease of setup at the schools. And the typical bocce ball is wooden or metal, baked clay or plastic like we have.
So Cameron County with another roll there, just missed a bocce, just rolled by the yellow Polina. Thank you for bringing us up to speed with the history of bocce there, dating back to the Roman Empire. The Romans were known for warring and trying to take over territory, but, they took the time to slow down and play a little bocce. So.
Yes, they did.
Third throw by Cameron County.
Looks like Port Allegany will still be in.
So this is going to be Cameron County's last throw, and if this isn't successful, then Cameron County or Port Allegany will have 3 additional throws to try to add to their lead.
Notice the strategy in both teams, that initial throw, trying to get it as close as possible, just so they keep that stance. Because it really is an advantage to have 3 balls at the end.
So Cameron County almost knocked out the Port Allegany ball that was in the lead there, just missed. Isabella Stiles with the throw here. She had a great throw in the last, was that the last frame?
Yes.
That was the one where they had to get out the measuring tape.
Yep. Looks like she used that side of the rail to inch her way forward, and it played out in her advantage.
So Elena Corey will throw for Port Allegany.
Elena Corey with that same technique sneaks up on the Polina.
That'll work. That appears to be the closest one. So Alan Hefner will close things out for Port Allegany. Alan trying to figure out strategy here, going along the side.
Bounced off the side slightly. It might not be the technique he wanted, but still in play.
So Mr. Buxton and Mr. Oliver are going to tally things up, or they're going to go get the measuring tape to see if that third ball counts. Looks like 2 definitely.
Go for this red one and that
Okay.
green one. If you're just coming in to measure, they measure from the front of the bocce ball to the middle of the Polina, and the closest ball gets the point.
Okay. So only 2 there. So it looks like Cameron County got the measurement on the third ball, neutralizes that third point. They'll change sides here. We're under 9 minutes left. So if Port Allegany wins this frame, there is no golden frame.
Correct.
Okay.
It's the best 2 out of 3 matches. And if they finish this match within, or this frame within 3 minutes, then they'll start the next.
So probably not likely. Probably this is the last one.
Yes.
Okay. So Port Allegany with a 5-1 lead. Clock is ticking. Elena Corey's going to throw the Polina. And as you mentioned earlier, that Polina ball rolls.
Rolls a lot swifter than
So that's not going to go far enough by the looks of it. It's going to be another rethrow. So while that ball's coming to a rest, I want to thank Micaiah Stake again for joining us to educate myself and the viewers on the rules of bocce. Connor Valentine for being the technical director. He's the one choosing the camera angles and things of that nature. Liam Hover is running the camera for us. David Bartlett is mid-court now. The Gator Network was here last night for the Port Allegany boys game, where both the JV boys and varsity boys defeated the Austin Panthers. Our next game for the Gator Network is going to be Tuesday as we host the Otto Elder Terrors. And I think we have a break until about the 25th. I think that's a girls' game, so. So this Polina is, closer to the edge than most of the throws we've seen. That could play into the strategy here.
Yeah, if they can get it to sneak up the side of that rail, it's perfect. This might possibly be the last frame. Typically, if there's under 5 minutes, they don't start it.
Good roll there by Cameron County, but it just kind of died out there at the end. Did you ever play on a gym floor that just seemed to be, the ball seemed to be rolling quicker than others?
I can't remember. I know for a fact I can't remember if it was Bradford or Oswego. One of them had like at the elementary school that like rubberized floor.
Yeah.
And it stuck so hard. It was like rolling on carpet. You had to roll pretty hard. But I think it was Bradford that had that floor. But in Oswego, I remember theirs was a little faster. You gotta adjust it to each school district.
Right.
The different coatings on the floors make it different. And like I said earlier, like we first started practicing in the hallway, that tile flooring with the wax, they glide a lot faster.
Nice throw there by Cameron County. Just missed the Polina. Ball goes rolling to the back. So it's going to bring up the fourth roll for Cameron County. They need to get close to the Polina to compete for points here in this frame. Looks like a pretty good roll there. As long as it doesn't, no, looks like it's gonna turn. So Port Allegany has an opportunity here to add to their totals unless they inadvertently bump Cameron County forward. Daniel Link with the throw here, going with a left-handed throw.
They've done this every frame this match. Had a pretty good and solid frame.
Yeah, so this one might bounce back. Okay, so you don't get much bounce on the boards there.
No, it actually, you can see it over here. It knocks they're going to connect it down there. It knocked the PVC pipe.
Okay, so it doesn't take much to knock it out.
Correct.
Marcus Skinner with the roll. So Journey Womath is going to close it out here for Port Allegany. She got a big throw on the last frame. +1 for the Gators. So just over 2 minutes left here. So now what happens, Micaiah?
Looks like they're going to do another frame.
Okay. So Alan Hefner is going to get things started. Micaiah Stake has to leave us in a haste. She's part of the emergency services locally and has to take off for something that's happened. So we appreciate her helping us out and being there for our community to help out when someone's in need. So we thank her for everything she does. Alan Hefner gets things started for Port Allegany. Good throw, close to the Polina. So that roll by Cameron County goes rolling past the Polina. their second throw upcoming. Third throw for Cameron County. Nice roll there. That appears to be the closest. So Port Allegany will get their chance to counter here. Daniel Link. Going with a right-handed roll here this time. Just misses a bocce. So Elena Palmer is going to have the third throw. Trying to decide strategy here. True bocce. That's when a ball hits the Polina. But with doing so, that pushed the ball closer to Cameron County by the looks of it. We're going to check out the camera angle here. Mr. Buxton and Mr. Oliver are going to measure, see what they come up with here. Liam Hoffer zooming in for our camera. Looks like Cameron County still has it. Journey Womath is going to throw. Be the last throw for the Gators. Bumps the Cameron County ball out of the way. That's going to leave, looks like 3 Port Allegany balls closest to the pin, so Cameron County will have to either counter by getting closest to the Polina or potentially bumping one of the Port Allegany balls out of the way. Nice throw. Sneaking in there. So Port Allegany is going to get 1. So that's going to be it. Port Allegany victorious in their first bocce match of the season. Cameron County Red Raiders have a good bocce team. We wish them luck on the rest of the season. And want to thank you again. My name is Kerry Hauber. I was joined by Micaiah Stake, who was a former PAHS bocce player. She had to take off here just a couple minutes ago. She's a part of our local emergency services, and an emergency came up, and in a moment's notice, she was off. So thank you, Micaiah. Connor Valentine was our technical director today. Liam Hauver, our camera person. David Bartlett, an additional camera person down on the floor. We thank you for tuning in. We thank our athletes, thank our coaches. Thank you to Mr. Buxton, Superintendent of Port Allegany School District. And thank you to Mr. Budd, Mr. Clark, the school board of directors that lets us have the Gator Network and host all our sporting events. We'll be back on Tuesday evening as the Port Allegany Gators boys basketball team takes on the Otto Elder Terrors. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. Thank you.